I've been doing Power Talk since COVID. But the studio, we just started. ¿Qué hace 2 meses, 3 meses, 2 meses?
Creo que
Yeah. He's been here for a while,
yeah,
but the spot.
yeah. That's great.
It's really nice to look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Studio,
Oh,
so,
perfect. Yeah.
very fun.
Beautiful. I presume he's doing a lot of different shows too.
Yeah, there's different, there's rock and roll, there's music, there's on and I did it over here. One thing.
Oh, very nice.
Mira, dices cuando
Yeah.
oh, here it is.
So delightful.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Facturando Tu Historia, profit from your story. I am Dr. B, and I am excited to be here on Radio Metroplex in Arlington, Texas. It is the capital of sports, events, and entertainment, and especially rock and roll. I know we cannot leave that one out. And also, I just have to say that this show is all about bringing entrepreneurs, small business owners, and the most important thing is to inspire, motivate, and give people that courage so that you can step into your big dreams and really turn them into reality. What we do here is that we do storytelling. We share our stories, we share our message to tell you, you know what, we've been through struggles, we've been in a roller coaster ride,
That's correct.
and we're here. We're here telling the stories to give you steps or give you ideas on how to get out of those dark moments. And with me, I have an amazing person that I met a few, weeks ago, Johnny Tan. So thank you, Johnny, for being here.
My
I'm
pleasure.
excited.
It is an honor to be with you on your live show. I mean, this is fantastic. I'm excited. Very, very excited.
Yeah, and I'm excited that you're here now. Every person that comes here has to tell us their little story, like how did you start and really come up with the ideas of why you do what you do, but first tell
Yeah.
us who you are
Okay.
and what you do.
All right. Well, my name is Johnny Tan. I'm the founder and CEO of From My Mama's Kitchen. And it's not a restaurant. It is an organization that I put together based on my book, From My Mama's Kitchen, Food for the Soul, Recipes for Living, that I wrote in honor of my 9 moms, actually. So that's how it started out. And then from that, it spun out to Inspiration for Better Living digital magazine that I have. And that magazine is designed to help moms build a better future for themselves, their families, and loved ones. And so the goal here is, interestingly enough, we don't realize it, but our moms are the CEOs, if not the COO of the family. And so I've been very fortunate in the sense that I have 9 of them.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when I go out and do my keynote speeches, the first thing people ask, is like, is that a bad thing? I say, yeah, I'm a problem child. And no, I'm just kidding. I mean, it is a blessing. It's not a curse. It's definitely a blessing. I was adopted at birth in Malaysia by my Malaysian mom, and at 18, I came to the United States to go to college at LSU. And a year later, my father passed away. My adopted father in Malaysia passed away, and that changed the trajectory of my life. All of a sudden, right now, you got plans, your parents got plans, and then God has plans.
Yeah, it happens, right?
And then so he has to sort of like convene together. And so that put me in a situation where had to make certain decisions in my life that put me on the trajectory to where I never set foot back again in Malaysia till 15 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And in the course of that 15 years, at different times in my life, I was very, very fortunate to meet 8 other different women through their natural motherly instincts that sort of became my surrogate mom. And my mom and I, we didn't get connected again until 8 years later when she came and visited me, 8 years later. And so I left when I was a teenager, kind of, right? And when she met me, I was, I guess, a young man.
Yeah.
But she's been very thankful for all these wonderful ladies that's been in my life to kind of step in. And so, interestingly enough, she has met all of them, and she was very, very thankful that natural motherly instincts. Like, if there's one thing that bonds all mothers, I think all over the world, regardless of cultural, religious affiliations and whatnot and so forth, is the fact that they want their offsprings to succeed in life. And from that commonality, that's how the From My Mama's Kitchen concept was given birth. Yes. Yes.
And for those of you that are watching, and especially if you've been adopted or you're in foster homes, and it's a very difficult moment sometimes, right? Especially when you realize, where's my parents? What happened?
Yeah.
Either you feel abandoned, you don't feel loved. There's different things happening in people's perception or mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because we do talk about struggles here, because we want to really inspire people and telling them, hey, if you're in that dark moment, look, this is what you went through.
Yeah.
So as you're growing up, and I'm going to take you a little bit back.
Sure.
I mean, how difficult was it? What was in your mind? And then I know that maybe this was born years later.
Yeah.
But how did that just,
What was interesting about that is, since I was adopted at birth, I did not know or find out about it till years later, because my birth certificate says who I am because I was adopted at birth, so they do it the right way, I guess, for lack of a better term, right? My sister, on the other hand, she was adopted from a different family, and so she was adopted a few months, old, so forth. She still had her original name, then converted, okay, we want you to be this family. And before I get into that, this is very interesting because when you talk about entrepreneurship and all this, several years back, one of my neighbors, she teaches at a school, and this is for preteen school, okay? And she says, Johnny, you speak about entrepreneurship. Would you mind coming and talking to our teens, preteens actually, and talk about entrepreneurship to them? They are rolling out their very first lemonade stand.
There you go.
Okay. So I said, okay, yeah, that sounds great. No problem. Big mouth. Commit. And so I did. I worked out what we call, living and performing twinpreneurship. And, to set out, in your genius zone. And so I went and did a presentation at the school. It was about 50, 60 something kids, very, very nice. And so I was teaching them about lemonade. And this is very interesting. So if I may talk about that, because I was telling them, entrepreneurship. And then I mentioned to them, before I say anything, you all need to tell me where your math teacher is. I've got all to get clobbered on the head. Because I said, in entrepreneurship, 1 + 1 = 3. I said, think about it. Does lemon need water? No. Does water need lemon? No. They exist just fine. I mean, we just walk side by side, right? But when you combine the two, you create totally something new. You gave birth to something beautiful and special. So that's what entrepreneurship is all about, because you're creating the 1 + 1 = 3. And they all love the concept. Yes. So, and then of course we went on to so many different things, but in the question and answer towards the tail end, we have a Q&A. And so everybody was asking questions and so forth. And then there was this wonderful boy sitting right in front of me, of course, several feet away. And he was fidgeting, it's like this. I have a question. I'm just afraid. I'm getting adopted this weekend, and I don't know. I'm just afraid. It's like I think, like I could feel the principal wife was like, "That's why we don't have." You know what I'm talking about? Just like,
Yes.
it's like, but to me, it was very interesting because I was adopted. So it was like
It was a
I was
process.
sent. I was
Yes, you
sent
were.
there for that, and to me, that was the beauty. It was like so fascinating. I said, be the way you are right now, because most important thing, believe it or not, you were adopted because those adopted parents love you. But most importantly, guess what? When you meet them, they are as nervous and afraid as you are.
Mm.
And that changes the dynamics
It
of it.
changes everything.
Yes, because, and then of course I told them, I was adopted. That's why I can speak about that.
Mhm.
And I say, as a matter of fact, I tell you what, I didn't know I was adopted. It was like I like to pick on my sister. And you know how we pick on sister when growing up, and we were 6 years different in age. She has a shower cap. I have to have a shower cap. They bought me a shower cap. I don't want it. I want to use her shower cap.
Yeah, that happened.
And then finally one day my sister got so mad, little things that we pick on each other, right? And she said, you're so different. The reason is because you're adopted. You're not like us. And so that was how I found out. I was like maybe about 10, 11 years old or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I was like, no, I'm not adopted. My name is correct. You're adopted because your name is written. I was telling you about the birth certificate, because we go to school, we have to turn all that in, right? And she said, no, you're adopted. So here okay. He said, only go ask mom. Okay, so here I'm going to the kitchen, My mom was about to die because she was cooking.
And you popped that question.
Yeah, Blake told me that I was adopted.
Oh my God.
But everybody stopped laughing. I said, the moral story, I said, guys, the most important thing is that, your parents love you. And I said, remember the thing about why my parents don't want to tell me, because remember, sometimes, when parents love you, they tell you not to do certain things, right? Mm-hmm. So can you imagine me coming back and saying, well, no wonder, because I'm not your son, right? I was adopted, and you don't love me. And I said, and that's not it, because, and everybody nodded, says, yeah, because they love us, they try to protect us. And so we go segue from lemonade to talk about family. And that was very exciting, because I really enjoyed it, because I'm sharing something that I think is very empowering.
It is.
Yeah, and making sure not only from adoption standpoint of view, but the rest of the kids realizing that you are connecting with your parents. I said, they're going to tell you things that sometimes you don't like to hear, but in the end, they love you, and everybody nodded, and so that was the beauty of it. So I wanted to share. I mean,
no, and I think that's beautiful. Sí. También, si podemos poner el picture de las 9 mothers.
Que van a mandar personal, no están en el messenger de la radio.
Okay, te los mando ahí.
Por favor.
Sí. Si pone a Vanessa, we're going to bring in Vanessa, and we're going to share.
Yes.
I'm going to try to share. I sent it to the wrong one. Mm-hmm. Te lo mando a Radio Metroplex. Okay.
Yo tengo a Vanessa y tengo a...
Mete las dos.
Dile que si le pueden bajar un poquito su volumen.
If you could lower your volumes. Are you there, ladies? Hello. Look at you, beautiful ladies.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful.
Give me a moment. I am so excited that you're here. We have Vanessa Johnson?
Venice
Johnson.
Yes.
Sorry, Venice.
That's okay.
And Dr. Amber and Lynn. They're both amazing, phenomenal ladies that we've connected. And in fact, both of them wrote in this chapter. Okay, it's called The 100 Most Successful Women Around the World Build Success from Scratch. And I want to welcome you to Facturando Tu Historia, which is Profit from Your Story on Radio Metroplex. Welcome to the show. And tell us a little bit about yourself. I have here Johnny Tan, and he was just telling us his his story about being adopted. And this show is about telling our story so that others can connect with us and that we can inspire and motivate them and give them that courage. And you know what? It doesn't matter where you're at. If you have to build from scratch, just like you ladies did, you know, first introduce yourself and then we'll go into the storytelling in a minute.
Okay. You want to go first or you want me to go first?
Go.
Okay. Okay, you said I could go?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So my name is Venice Johnson, and I'm known as the Boldness Coach. I help women to be bold, big, and bad, and live a life of no permission needed. And what that really means is I'm an empowerment coach, and I help women to really find their courage and to develop their courage so that they can live a life of no permission needed. Bold stands for becoming out loud daily, which has to do with you evolving into your authentic self every day and in every way. Big stands for building in your genius. All of us were born with at least one gift that we can be able to shift our lives as well as our families and the world around us. And bad stands for being audaciously daring. You have to really be audacious to be daring so that you can shift your life to the highest level.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, we all need to be bold, right?
Yes.
And being able to step into that confidence and that courage, because many times we have these fears that get in the way.
Yeah.
We have a vision, we have a dream, we have a passion, but then we have this like loud voice, you know, that's telling us that we're not going to make it, that we're going to fail, that we're not good enough, or all these crazy thoughts that are coming in that hold us behind. And I think that I really love your concept about being bold.
Thank you.
And daring to step into that power. Dr. Amber, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hello. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Dr. Amber Ann Lyons, and I am the CEO and founder of From Pain to Purpose Incorporated. We are a domestic violence and teen dating violence advocacy organization. We work within the community, locally, nationally, and globally, to be able to help people transition from a place of pain to walk and embrace their life's purpose. Identifying the pain, understanding the pain, and learning how to move forward into healing and forgiveness so that they can be able to embrace their life's purpose. We have a phenomenal youth program called Healing Pain Through the Arts, where we use the arts as a cathartic tool to be able to help our youth and young adults to be able to express what it is that's going on in their world so that they too can embrace their life purpose and prepare them for leadership success. We open opportunities for our youth and young adults to have leadership success. And we have a myriad of programs regarding that. Mental health, we have an award ceremony called Healing Pain Through the Arts, Youth Spotlight Awards. We have a podcast, You Speak Out podcast, which we're celebrating 4 years. We're having an event next Friday. Thank you. Where they're celebrating 4 years of being the voice of the youth, holding down media, arts, and entertainment for their generation. So we're quite busy. And our desire is to really rebuild the bridge that has been destroyed between the elder generation and the younger generation so that we can have the village arise again and be a support to our young people.
Dr. Amber and Johnny.
Yes.
He was talking about, being adopted and going into a school and talking to a group of students, and then a child kind of brought up that he was nervous because he's going to be adopted. And I know that you've talked to a lot of children or a lot of youth that are in pain, right? Mm-hmm. And I think even grown-ups are in pain, but our youth are our future. And I'm thinking if we don't help them to heal, to find themselves, to fit in the world, right? I think I really truly appreciate what you're doing and what you're doing in so many ways, and you too, Vanessa, because you're telling people to be bold, right? And so tell us, like, how did you start and why did you start this? I mean, what initiated this passion?
Mm. You know, for me, what started was a life changing event. And my life changing event was a divorce. And when I went through that divorce, it was unplanned, it was unwanted, but it was what was happening. And I found myself in that moment, you know, of the utmost vulnerability. And I found myself in the moment of directionless. And I had poured everything I had up until that point into that relationship. And I found I had just really lost my voice. And so when I was, you know, really stepping into the thick of it, I had to make a decision. How was I going to go forward? And what would forward possibly look like for me? And as I started to peel the layers back, I was able to get a sense of self direction and start to rebuild self-trust. And when I thought about, you know, what I was going through, the first thing that came to my mind was I wonder how many other women are struggling, you know, from a major life event, whether that's death or loss, you know, of a loved one, family member, whether that's losing your career, whether that's losing your business. You know, life events happen to us all throughout our lifetime span. And you have, you know, two options. You can either rise up and discover, you know, where the opportunity is and the shift, or you just kind of can crumble and become a victim of circumstances. So that is what really propelled me to become the demonstration for other women, you know, in regards to tapping into your boldness. We all were born with a level of boldness within us, but it's up to us to tap into it. So I don't want women to wait till a major life event happens in order for that, you know, to be the invitation. I want them to seek that out so that when something does shift in life, they feel that they can respond immediately to whatever that shift is that's about to happen.
Right. And Dr. Amber?
Interesting, very interesting. We kind of align in some of our whys, and well, not necessarily the why, but how we were launched into our purpose.
Mhm.
I too um, ended up walking into my purpose through a broken marriage as well.
Mhm.
After many years of being in marriage where it was just not what God would consider a healthy marriage at all. I became a client of the New York City Family Justice Center, which was under the umbrella of the Mayor's Office to Combat Domestic Violence. And after receiving services from them, including my divorce through NILAG, which handled divorces of domestic violence victims, I became a volunteer.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to give back. And because I had received various resources, my children and I, and even counseling. I was in counseling for a year and stayed in it for another year and a half with my son. So just wanted to give back and help others. And so I became a volunteer for 1 year before I actually relocated from Brooklyn, New York to Atlanta, Georgia, where I reside now and have been since July 2011. That pivot from coming out of that marriage, getting those resources, and becoming a volunteer opened my life up to something I never thought would happen. They saw in me an advocate for others. I never thought about that when I was just somebody that got help and wanted to give back. Out of the thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of clients that they have, they saw in me a desire to be able to do more. And they sent me to San Antonio, Texas for 4 days of advocate training with all of the branches of the society, your military, your judicial, your law enforcement, your medical. We were all there for 4 days of training and workshops and so much forth. And that's where From Pain to Purpose was birthed as an advocate. So that was just the groundwork of building on something that we started as just to wanted to give a voice to women and children who were suffering in silence. I just see a correlation with our stories, and for people to be able to know that they don't have to live in pain, that you can live in a life that is free of abuse, free of trauma, and you have to put in the work and do the work, but that we can do the work. We're well able to do the work. So that was the birthing of what launched me into now being a global leader of women, men, and youth in regards to people may not all have the pain of domestic violence or abuse, but everyone is acquainted with pain.
Yeah.
I remember recently speaking to some sixth, seventh, and eighth graders at a school and asked them how many of them know what it feels like to have pain. And every hand went up. I had two sessions, one with the eighth graders and one with the sixth and seventh graders. Every hand went up. But when I asked them, how many of you know you have a purpose? Not so much.
Yeah.
And
Because
they're young. They're
Dr.
young.
Amber, yeah, they're too young, and not only them, but even adults
Mhm.
get lost in the pain, and they don't know how to find their passion or the direction of what
Right.
they really want, right? Because it's either we experience pain or pleasure. But I think most of the time a lot of people are in the side of pain. I mean, that's why mental health is really like it's a big movement right now because there's a lot of people in depression and lost and suicides are happening and killing. I mean, unfortunately, things like that are happening. But I think that the three of you are very important because you found yourself and then you created something out of that circumstance. In your case, you were adopted. So then what happened once you realized you were adopted? Did you go into confusion, into
Not at all. As a matter of
Yeah,
fact, it was
okay.
interesting because, as I've written in my book, it's more of we never realized that at any time that I was less of a family, right? I get the same amount of love from my parents as if my friends who are actually from the family. So that was not an issue, from that perspective. And I think, when you talk about the kids that are in school and so on, fascinating thing about it is that if we tap into our personal life as well, whenever we don't get anything, that is a problem. So there got to be a situation here that we're able to shift through the process where there's real pain and there's superficial pain, so to speak, because if I don't get my way, I'm painful, right? So that is an issue as well in itself. So as adults, we have to be very careful about those kind of things. Like, for example, like mental health. It's not one label fits everything because there are mental health issues, no doubt about it, where someone needs a medical thing. Uh, as we approach it from a mental wellness, then it's a different ball game now because mental wellness incorporates the mental health, but mental health does not necessarily incorporate mental wellness. So mental wellness is where we're able to go and see because situations create situations, if that makes sense. So now that changes the dynamics because you're looking at behavior tendencies. So that can be, addressed accordingly. For example, born to be bold, and whatnot,
Mhm.
because it's giving you the self-esteem, the power that, hey, I matter. This is what you can do. Take ownership. That's got nothing to do with, technically speaking, mental health, that I need to pop a couple of pills a day.
Right.
You see?
Yes.
So that's more mental wellness that we're able to approach, like, for lack of a better term, respectfully. Every family, if you talk to people, every family is dysfunctional. Why? Because I didn't get my way.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, so just because I didn't get my way, is it, dysfunctional? Not necessarily,
Mhm.
because we only hear one side of the equation. And one of the things that I, interestingly enough, when I talk to people, and I said, you can go back and look at history. Of course, oh, my mom did this or my dad did this. And I say, very true. But like at that moment in time, they are who they are.
Mhm.
And ultimately, they love you the best way they know how.
Exactly.
That is like almost like a magic panacea where there's closure, because they realize that you're right. Because at any given moment, I happen to be like that too. Shut up, and then they realize that, because that's where I'm at that moment.
And that's how you were brought up, right?
Yes, and then you realize,
Yeah.
so you are able to shift accordingly, because as you look at it, okay, you can marinate in it, or you can look at in the rear view vision as windows of opportunities for the future.
Yes.
Big difference.
Because I think, ladies and Johnny, even we were born into circumstances, like in your case, you were adopted. Other people, there's a lot of people still that are grown ups that are still dealing with that pain.
Right.
And you ladies are like you, Dr. Amber, you're working with children or youth that are experiencing some type of dysfunction or being adopted or not even living with their parents. But then we're also helping a lot of people to transition into building a business from scratch, stepping into their power, right, Vanessa? I don't know why I cannot say your name, but I do know your name. I just want to say Vanessa, but I know it's not Vanessa.
Yeah, Venice. Yeah.
Vanessa. And so how do we bring all this together? Your empowering. What is it? It says from my mom's kitchen. He has recipes from his mom's kitchen. He had 9 mothers. Ended up with being adopted, and then found 8 other mothers that kind of marinated him with love and affection, and it's beautiful. Isn't that beautiful?
That's wonderful, wonderful. I think one of the things that we get to think about as we move to looking at ways to become our best self is to have self-awareness. And in your self-awareness, there's an opportunity for self-reflection. And what I tell my clients that I work with in coaching women and in my coaching programs, your reality is the truest form of where you are. That is the demonstration of your truth. What's around you. And the truth is not necessarily from a victim standpoint, but the truth is I am having this experience, and this experience is affecting me in this way. And the effects of this experience is not allowing me to do A, B, and C, or it's causing challenges with doing A, B, and C. So a lot of times we don't like to tell ourselves the truth, because the truth can be painful, because the truth means that what we see and what we really tell ourselves, the truth of what we see, and having a conversation with ourselves is not always comfortable.
Right.
It's not always comfortable. So sometimes we just want to stay in complacency because it's easier to deal with, because we know how to navigate that, those trauma bonds or those triggering experiences. But one of the ways that I found, and this is what again I work with my clients on, is really, having the self-awareness so that you can say, wait a minute, this is what's really going on. And perhaps this is the way that I am contributing to what's going on. Then it brings a whole different awareness, and you're like, okay, now I see what's happening in front of me. Now I want to reach out for support. And then as you're reaching out for support, you're able to articulate the truth of what's happening so that you can get hopefully exactly what you need. So as you move forward or start to break out of that conditioning.
I love that because it is part of our conditioning and our patterns and our behaviors that we've created along the way, right? One of the things that you wrote here in this book from My Mom's Kitchen is, there's some reflections on recipes for living. You have, I'm just flipping the pages right now.
Sure.
But you also have some reflections on people writing their own recipes. Be more specific. Tell us more about that.
The book is actually about the recipes for a living that my mom taught me, my various moms. It's about how you navigate through life. But the key important thing about it is also, unless you're open to receiving love, it's not going to come in. It goes that way. That's one. And then the other thing is that for this particular book, what is I did with this book is that I designed it as a keepsake. So as you read and you realize those are timeless recipes for living life, that motherly wisdom. These are the things that just a standard kind of thing that moms would tell you. Things that mom wants to tell you that you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
The timing is not right yet to hear all the motherly wisdom. And then towards the tail end of the book, that I have sections whereby people can write their own recipes that it resonates now. Now that we're old enough, so we can write and acknowledge our mom. And of course, mom may not remember that, but what you said then affected me. It changes my trajectory, and I think that's the beauty of it, because I think sometimes when we're in the whole part itself, we don't see it. As we go through life, to be honest with you, even whether moms or even us, as we are, the way we are, okay, there are three basic roles that we play. We're a teacher, we're a coach, and we're a counselor. Situation dictates what we're going to be doing. Teaching is basically telling people the ABCs because they have no idea what it is.
Right.
Coaching is, based on the way you do it. Okay, maybe you want to do this a little bit different. That, okay, oh yeah, okay, gotcha. And then the counseling, finally, they know it, but they need, an ear to listen to. Someone there that can kind of walk them through. And for lack of a better term, I say this: my 9 moms were the cheerleaders. They were when I'm inches away from my various finish lines. That would be the best way to say from the counseling standpoint.
Right.
Because we all need that little boost. They're a guide when I'm rolling, a push when I'm at the stop, and cheerleaders when I'm inches away from the finish lines. If we have that mindset, that changes the dynamics a little bit. And then we have that thought process of, speaking about self-awareness, for example. That's critical. That's the foundation start. When you look at self-awareness, we live 3 separate lives, regardless of what affected us and whatnot and so forth. When you look at us right now, me, myself, and I. Me is what we live the way what we want people to see us. I used to the thing of TV. If you all ladies remember that, the Robert De Niro. You're talking to me, huh? I want to make sure, I want to look tough right here, And then the other one is myself. That is our true self. Even sometimes our own spouse, don't even know that, because that's our strength, our weaknesses, and all that, or what we deem as weaknesses, right? And I is the authentic self. That's a combination of me and myself. But if you all recall, ladies, big word. Oh, be authentic. Oh, yeah, big word. But, my Southern bound mom once told me, your charm will open all the doors. It's your integrity that keeps them open.
Yeah.
Authentic integrity is what's lacking right now. If you look around. Okay? And that changes the dynamics.
It is. I love it. I love what you're saying, because I've never thought of it that way. And you said it perfectly. So, okay, Dr. Amber, you have chapter 8 in this book, from the 100 most successful women. And we had different sections starting from scratch, from the big why to the aha moment to the secret formulas. And you talk about leading with love, you know. And I think that that formula is really important because, there's a saying of, I love reading different quotes from different people, and I'm not going to get into religion, but I know that the saint said, love and do what you please, because I think that when you truly love, I don't think nothing's really going to come out that's going to harm anybody else. And you talk about that. Lead with love. So tell us more about what you do and how you help people, your youth transform, but why leading with love?
Well, lead with love, I said, was my secret sauce because we're talking about building success from scratch. And one of the things that happens when people begin to build businesses, when you build in successful businesses from wherever you are, a lot of times in today's world, it's a dog eat dog type of thing. It's very competitive. It's we'll do anything to get to the top. Who has the best numbers? It's the authenticity, the authenticness of who we are as people and why we're doing what we're doing really gets lost in getting the numbers and getting the bag and getting the money and being the best and competing against this brand and that brand. And what people want to know coming through COVID-19, ending up in a world where you have to walk around with a mask on,
Yeah.
not be identifiable because your face is covered by a mask unless people can tell who you are by your eyes or your hair. Um, a lot has transpired in the world that we live in. People have lost hope. They are dying within. And that's why so many people are having mental health issues. Everyone may not have a mental illness, but I don't think there's anybody that has gone through this world of going through COVID and the new strands and so many people dying. And it may be as not as bad now. People are still getting COVID, but it's not where people are, dying like it was, where the whole world had to shut down when it first happened 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So much has taken place. People want to know that you care.
Yes.
They want to know, all you doing to sell me your product, all you doing to sell me your service, all you doing to get me on your platform, do you care
Yeah.
about me as a person? And that's what our youth and young adults want to know. Do you care about me? So my secret sauce is, as the queen of smooches,
Yeah, I
is
love that.
lead with love, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. They want to know that you care about them. Why should I buy your product? Because you're in my inbox. You haven't introduced yourself to me. We
Right.
don't have a relationship. I don't know who you are. Is my money going into good ground when I sow into you? I want to know that you care about me so that we can, be better for the world at large. And that is what our whole youth and young adults mental health program called Cope to Hope is built on. The hope deferred, the Bible says, makes a heart sick, but a dream fulfilled is the tree of life. People have lost hope, and that's why we see so much violence and so much the answer being guns and fighting and discourse, because the hope has been lost. So lead with love is who I am at my core. I'm a servant of the Lord. I'm a woman of God. I'm a mother, proud mother and grandmother.
Yeah.
And I try to exemplify the love of God in my business dealings, as well as my ministerial dealings and my family life, and as I walk this earth to do what God has called me to do. So if nobody knows anything else about me, hopefully they will know she loves the people who she interacts with. And I don't have to know you to show you the love of God. I may not be in love with you. Hello, that's a whole nother level. But I can show you God's love, and that by itself can change a life.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's powerful.
Powerful, powerful. Now, I know that Johnny does something like extraordinary and fabulous. Like one of the things that he does, and we have something in common. I love dancing and he loves dancing. And
I love to dance too.
and tell them what you do because I think it's magical.
Well, before we get that, and I like the concept of approaching through the lens, love as the empowerment of the way we look at things. First and foremost, as a former C-suite person, chief operating officer, I tell people we're in the people business. We're not in the soap business. We're not in the business. We're not in the catalog business. We're not in the clothing business. We're in the people business. So when you look at that, now you've got people in front of you. And then the most important thing that as we connect with people, and if you think about it, and all of us, good, right? They're two separate but equal forces that govern all our decision making, whether it's personal or business. Love or fear. That's it. Love is, when you look through the lens of love, is about the other person. That's where sacrifices come. It's okay, go ahead and have the last piece. I have enough, I'm kind of full anyway, right? That's a different, because it's that natural love, like talk about Dr. Amber, through the lens of love. Fear is all about us.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, enough, not enough, this and that. But the funny thing about it is that fear help us to win war. Fear also get us into war.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act that people need to realize that comes back again to full circle of self-awareness, so to speak. Because now, how do we balance that beauty? That both sides of the equation, and that comes back to that conversation that we should have with whoever. Whether if we need to have a counselor that we want to talk to, it's never too young, and God forbid, never too old.
Never too old. And the reason that I'm leading to you is because Dr. Amber's talking about leading with love, but I think you're doing a lot. I mean, so are they, but you're doing something amazing with love, because putting a lot of time into what you're doing is amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, one of the things that From My Mama's Kitchen educational nonprofit organization platform does is that we publish things. And one of the publishing that we do is the digital magazine called Inspirations for Better Living. And this magazine is designed to help moms build a better future for themselves, their families, and loved ones. And it's not necessarily focused on how to raise junior, but it is about investing in the mom, because as I mentioned before, moms are the CEO, if not the CEO of the family. And so when mommy is happy, that reverberating energy, permeates in the house, the home, that is, the neighborhood, and the community. And so when it's all said and done, personal success begins at home. Home is the first classroom. Home is where we learn values. Okay? You can't outsource those kind of things. You don't need to know, all the math and all that, biology. That's why you send them to school. But values and so forth. And the funny thing about it, when ladies, you work with, with all types of groups of people, and sometimes people get intimidated. Like, oh my God, well, my son's not going to graduate from high school because I don't even have a GED, or my son's not going to graduate from college because I'm not a college educated. That's not it, because it's a mindset. Because one of the things that I share with people, my mom grew up in Malaysia. That is, she grew up in a generation where uh, when you're old enough, it's kitchen 101.
Yeah, right.
Back then, if you look at it, ladies, we think back, our grandparents and whatnot and so forth, you know, the kitchen is where it is. When you marry someone, you better know how to cook, all right, to feed the family. And then there's that revolution, like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to be in the kitchen.
Yeah.
We women don't cook. And so, but having said that, the beauty of it is this. My mom learned the ABCs. But guess what? She know what an A looks like, what a B looks like, what a C looks like, what a D looks like. She couldn't care less what E is.
Mm-hmm.
She knows what an F looked like. She
Mm.
couldn't care less about after that.
After that, right?
So when you show up, my sister and I show up at home monthly with our report card. Believe me, you can snowball of that. But anyway, so these are the things that I think is very interesting because it comes back to the personal empowerment, and you ladies are doing such a fantastic job with that through the personal experience that we all have, right? So I'm sharing my thoughts based on my personal experience and that empowerment because it does start at home. If we embrace that concept, personal success begins at home. That's the classroom. It's the first classroom we're all enrolled.
It is.
That's it. And so that makes a big difference. And then as far as other things that I'm doing now, we're rolling out. We have a call out for stories of the world's greatest moms.
Hey, you might want to have them in one of your magazines. They're amazing writers.
It's not about and interestingly enough, it's not about pulling out a PowerPoint and tell, hey, let me tell you this. It's about sharing our stories that how we navigate to life. And then as people read that, then they realize that I'm at this point in my journey, but I sure as heck love to have read that because it empowers me on how to go on above and beyond and so forth. Those are the things that are very, very exciting. And we actually have, if I may say so, for Mother's Day, we have a special gift, free.
Free subscription.
Free subscription to Inspiration for Better Living.
And we're going to put the code in all the Instagram and the social media.
Wonderful.
Because we are, I'm going to just say it right now because there's different interviews people are coming in. We are on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Google Play. So I want to say hi to all of you. We are also on the digital radio here in Radio Metroplex. This is Facturando Tu Historia, which is profiting from your story. And we have entrepreneurs like Johnny, Dr. Amber, and Venice Johnson, who are sharing their story. And what we really encourage you to do, you see, we all don't have the answers, but I do connect you to amazing people like them. So connect with them, reach out, ask them questions, invite them to your shows because I know a lot of you are entrepreneurs that are watching also, or connect, because if you're not networking and you're not working, and they're amazing people to connect with. So he's giving a free gift, which is a magazine subscription, and we're going to put the code because it's really long and it's numbers, and we're going to put them in the messages so that you can get it. And I know, ladies, that you might have a gift to give, and then where can people find you, Denise?
Yeah, people can go to my website, theboldnesscoach.com. So theboldnesscoach.com. You can also go to venicejohnson.com. It'll take you to the same site. And on the site, if you sign up for the newsletter, you are able to get 3 downloadable ebooks that are available on there. One is career related, where you have an opportunity to reflect and re-examine where you are in your career at this point and what your future what you want your future to look like in your career. Also, there's a book that helps you with developing self-esteem. So you can be able to really take some time and start thinking about, where's the opportunity for you to develop that. And then lastly, there is a book that will help you to, spend some time about your belief systems. because our belief systems, and I think, Tony, you were mentioning that, mindsets, right? So it helps, you to just identify what type of mindset do you really have, and what kind of results are you getting from that mindset. And of course, you can always get our book.
Yes,
You can always get our book.
you need to go get the book, because
Go
in
get
the
the
book, every lady will give you a gift.
Yes.
And you're gonna find QR codes in the back, and then you just
Yeah.
take a picture, scan it, and it's gonna take you directly to their free gift. So you need to get it. We have it. It just came out like hot on the press.
Right.
We have the ebook. So you know what? It's less than a coffee. So how much do we spend on coffee? $5, $6. So you can get the ebook for $2.99. So go and get it. We're going to share the QR code in a minute. And then Dr. Amber, where can people find you, and what do you have to offer?
People can find me. All of my social media is located, and my website are all located at Linktree, linktr.ee/ALYONS, Lions 63. So that's Linktree, linktr.ee/ALYONS 63. You can find all of my social media, the website, which is from paintopurpose.net. And also there's a invitation to have a free 30-minute consultation with me available there as well. So we look forward to connecting with you and working together to build a brighter future for our world.
I love it. I love it. So I truly appreciate you ladies. And then before you go, for those of you that are watching, you need to connect with them. We're going to put all the information below so that you can easily click, connect, and then just contact them and buy the book so you can get the free gift. And then we're going to put his code as well. Now, we're also Radio Metroplex and Facturando Tu Historia. What we do is that we look for sponsors so that we can continue doing what we do. We reach a lot of people, millions of people around the world. We are international, and we advertise your business. So if you're interested in us advertising your business, reach out and we will connect and advertise you on our show. Again, ladies, thank you so much. Love you. If you want to leave us with a last minute message before you leave, and we will stay connected.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Denise.
I just encourage every woman to find your level of bold and really become audaciously daring in your life, and watch the magic unfold.
Thank you.
Awesome. I would just like to say, before you walk into your purpose, make sure you heal and forgive yourself as well as those who have hurt you. Because in order for you to walk in your purpose, we need to be whole and healthy. So remember to lead with love, heal, and forgive. Smooches.
Smooches. Love you, ladies, and thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Happy Mother's Day.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Now, Johnny, you have a lot of things that you're doing. So what else would you like our audience to know?
Sure. I think
Ponemos su foto.
I think the two things that we're working on, obviously the magazine that I wanted to give away for Mother's Day special, Inspirations for Better Living, and then the coupon code, the e-coupon code gives everyone an opportunity to subscribe to the magazine for the entire year. And the way I've done it also, they can go back and get all the 25 subscriptions before. So they can see the entire thing, because our goal is to actually help people, right? To make sure that they do well. And these, in that 25 volumes, you have different experts that contribute. And what I did was I made it fun. Like it's about the home. So we have kitchen table conversations, notes from the fridge, We have hot off the stove.
I love
We have mama's me time.
it.
That's important, essential. We have mama's family piggy bank.
Okay.
Every family has a piggy bank somewhere, believe it or not.
Everybody.
Right. So we have that. So we make it fun to everybody. It's very engaging from that perspective. And we also have a column called Nana's or Papa's Wisdom.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have like grandparents, and you were the contributor for this month.
I
you
was.
know, and
So you guys need to go and get it. So you
you're a
can
new
read
Nana,
it.
so
Yeah.
fascinating story. And these are the things that it's about, like I say, sharing nuggets of wisdom to help people. That's the fascinating thing about the magazine. And so it's designed, again, it's inspiration for better living. So all you have to do is just go to www.inspirationforbetterliving.com, and then with the code, you guys can subscribe, for free. And then the other major project that we're working on, believe it or not, next year is the 15th anniversary of From My Mama's Kitchen.
Oh.
Yeah, so 15th year.
Wow.
And it's fascinating. When I first wrote the book, again, I'm one of those guys, like I tell people, I said, I'm like the guy at the circus, like plate full, I got too many things going on. I didn't really pay attention to it. But when it hit the bestseller list in 2012, and prior to that in 10 and 11, it won 5 awards. Like, wake up. This is where you need to focus your energy.
Yes.
And so what happened was, it was very, very interesting, like say, and then it just kind of led me that way to where I'm here, quote unquote, as a speaker for moms. Well, I live by 9 moms anyway. So having said that, what we're doing is that we want to be bold enough to whereby we are looking for people that want to share the enduring motherly story, their motherly story. So we have a book that we're putting together. It's a compilation. It's called World Greatest Mom. So we want people to check it out. Go to worldgreatestmomsbook.com, World Greatest Mom with an S, moms, book.com, and you get all the information on how to submit your stories and be a part of the team, and then be part of that group, like say. So we want to get this out because there's so many wonderful stories out there. And not only that, for once we are focusing on, it can't be all bad. If you're still alive and well,
yes,
you got fed, you got a place to sleep, and so I think these are magical moments where are we focusing on? So if we can pick up one beautiful, enduring moment, and then you'll be surprised that actually that particular moment has a ripple effect on you up to this day, and you'll be surprised that that's a beautiful story. You are living a legacy of love, for lack of a better term, for you and your mom. And so that's what the major things that we do.
The world's
greatest moms,
greatest
right
mom.
there.
There
That's
it is. Yeah.
Yep. World Greatest Mom book. And so it is a compilation book. We're very excited to put it all together. So
right, and then
that's my
there's
9
the
moms.
9 moms
My 9
right
moms,
there.
yes. And so and that's my book that when it came out. And like I said again, it's funny because and the story behind the book is also funny because when my mom came and visited me, and this is strictly a guy thing, it's like, oh, she's getting old. I think I better start collecting food recipes that I like.
Oh, and that's how this came about.
Yeah, that's how that came about. So I think, I like this food, that food. So I told my mom, I'm going to collect all the recipes. Oh, yeah, fine. And then I told my sister, I said, since you don't cook, I'll collect all the food, the recipes for us. And then a few months later went by, and then I talked to my other moms. I said, I like that dish right there. You mind sending it? Oh, no problem. Okay. So, well, guess what? 7 years went by. It never got off the ground. So finally, in 2007, my Italian foster mom from Poplar Bluff, Missouri, she was 90 years old at the time. She always calls me on New Year's. She called me out, wish me Happy New Year. She said, by the way, are you going to finish this book before I die? I was like, oh, yes, man.
It really pushed you.
And actually, I had planned for it. It's really weird. So I planned for it. So I said, yes, of course, I'm planning to write it. And so that April, I sit down and started writing every night for a couple of hours. And soon enough, as I started writing, it's not about the food. It's about the motherly love, the wisdom that they shared with me. Some of them I don't want to hear, but
Right.
but it's there. And so I finished it at the end of the year. I didn't even realize, December 31st I finished it. Okay. So now when I look back, thank goodness, because of that approach, I had 9 moms in there. Had I stuck with the food recipes, 3 of my moms would have made it in the book. Because I was collecting the favorite food, right? So it was so funny. So, and when I went around for my book signings at Barnes and Nobles and independent bookstores here in Texas and places including New York, of course, like, what can the guy say? All the women love it, right? You got a guy bragging about mom, right? But what was fascinating is that I had men coming up to me and say, I appreciate you writing this. In my life, I had 3 moms, 4 moms. And there were a couple of situations, believe it or not, the wife had to remind them, oh, you forgot that's, oh yeah, huh? Yeah, that's my, yeah. And you know what it is that it's not like moms, it's the women that you can talk to. And believe it or not, if you think about it very carefully, there's certain things you don't want to talk to your mom about.
Right.
You'll talk to your aunt, your grandma, your friend's mom.
Yeah, but not the mom.
Right, the mom, So it was really funny. And so that threw me off guard. It was fascinating because then I was able to, like, wow, that really threw me off guard. And so that started this journey about, very interesting. Talking about moms, and that's what happens to what it is. And then, of course, in the book, I have 9 food recipes in it, but actually it's from 6 of my moms. But it's an enduring project. The beauty of it, it brings lots of laugh. One of the favorite recipes that when I say recipes is like, each mom has their own personality. I have my Southern Belle mom, and then I mentioned about, talking about in authentic integrity. And then one of the other ones that I love talking about is my Cajun mom. And she has this very positive attitude about life. And she would say, well, the good news is, it's like, so she's the one that I would go and not say complain, but air out, when we have solutions, like, and then, so I'd spend 30 minutes, and she, yeah, okay, And then she said, and the good news is, I mean, like, what good news are you talking about, man? I mean, like, do I need to pull out my PowerPoint? And no, and what she said is that because you got it all out, and I know your capability. You're born with talents and gifts, okay? And that's the beauty of it, and that comes back to the recipe that my Malaysian shared with me. In every one of us, there's a seed of greatness. When this seed is nurtured properly, that brings success.
Talk to them right there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
they need to, because I think that's very powerful.
Oh, okay.
And we really want you to get this.
Okay. In every one of us, there's a seed of greatness. This seed of greatness is the essence of our success. And the genius of the seed helps us to dream, achieve, and become the things that we want to do. They help us, to really bring forth our desires. The talent in us helps us to accomplish it with a heartfelt passion. And so fascinatingly enough, all these moms, it's funny, it's like all the different pieces, and they grew up in different parts of the world and all that, and it all comes to these beautiful pieces that the jigsaw is.
Yes. And then what do you say here? Read it to them.
It says a dash of this, a smidgen of that, and a pinch of motherly love from my 9 moms. So, because I wrote this book when I was in Louisiana, and I came to the United States to go to college at LSU. So I was like Louisiana born, basically. And I tell people this. I said, I came here 4 months after my 18th birthday and landed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And if you think about it, the first 5 years of your life, do you really remember anything? Right. I mean, you do, but you don't. It's when you respectfully, when you hit puberty or when you get to the teen years, is when like, oh, hey, I know it all. I'm trying to look. Where am I at? I'm already here in the United States. And then, not to mention, like I said, I was here for 15 years before I went anywhere else. So I basically grew up here. And so that's the beauty of it. When I was in college, I had my Southern Belle mom. I had my Italian foster mom out in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. When I started working, I met my Sanguine Savannah mom in Savannah, Georgia. I met my Texan Earthly mom because I used a company to recruit recruit management people, and I met my spiritual progressive mom at one of the business meetings in Hammond, Louisiana. And then in my private time, yes, we talk about dancing. I met my ballroom instructor mom who taught me ballroom dancing. I perform and I teach and so forth. It was just wonderful. And then I met my Cajun mom doing the jitterbug. And then I met my German mom at one of the show dance performances and so forth. So technically speaking, it's like life is a buffet line, y'all.
It is.
It's whether you want to go out there and taste it. And if you like it, go for seconds. If you don't, that's okay. But at least you have tasted that and you know what it's all about.
Absolutely. I love it. So love it. You need to go and get this book, right? From my mama's kitchen. And we're gonna put the link and everything below. Go also and get the subscription because it's a free gift. You don't have to pay anything. You're gonna save what,
$23.99, I think.
23. You're saving $23.99, and you're getting all the back
orders as well.
Orders
yeah.
at
Plus
as well.
11, yes.
Plus, yes.
And they're fantastic. And these are, to give you an example, would be like Nana's and Papa's wisdom. In June of, and the reason I brought this up because he was on conversation recently. You may not believe it, but I have Martin Cooper and his wife, and I'll tell you who they are. Martin Cooper is the inventor of cell phones. Remember the brick phone, the cell phone Motorola? Martin Cooper is the one who invented it.
Oh.
Yeah. And his wife, Arlene Harris, is the one that invented the cell phone called Jitterbug for all the seniors. They were contributors to the Nanas and Papas Wisdom section of June 2021 of Inspiration
So
for
you
Better
need
Living.
to,
It's fascinating. It's fascinating.
You need to get it. Okay. You need to get it. So, okay. So how do we close it? Where can people find you on social media or where?
I am basically everywhere actually, but to learn more about From My Mama's Kitchen platform, educational platform, is FromMyMamasKitchen.org. And you can also go to .com, FromMyMamasKitchen.com. That's the same thing also that I do. But the ORG is what we're just rolling out. It's a nonprofit organization. I would love to connect with people that wants us to come and, of course, like I say, to collaborate with, because I'm rolling out workshops called Genius Zone workshops. And this Genius Zone workshops are also for corporate as well as for family. And Family Genius Zone, within the Family Genius Zone, we have Mama's Genius Zone, Teen Genius Zone, and Tween Genius Zone. And then for the corporate corporations and companies and so forth, we have that Corporate Family Genius Zone. It's a wonderful program for employee engagement programs. This is fascinating. And this is based on real life, real situations. Like I said, I'm a former chief operating officer. I built an organization and was very successful at it. So I'm sharing things that are real, not, by the way, I read in that book, page 35, paragraph 3, not that. It's real life, real situations. And I tell people through leaders lead people and manage situations. Big difference. Yeah, so you can find all that on the website. And so connect with me. I'd love to connect with y'all and going forward to really start building the concept of personal success begins at home, because this is our opportunity right now, because the world needs us. And the way, when you talk about Mama's Kitchen, this is interesting. You and I have talked about this, right? The kitchen is the heart of every home. You can talk about a lot of things in the kitchen, but when you get called into the living room, and especially with your first and last name, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Yeah, but the kitchen is where, like you said, the heart is, the warmth, the soul.
Yes. And so that's what it's all about. So that's my gift, because I want to share my concept of living a legacy of love, is about sharing knowledge and wisdom. And to me, wisdom is knowing others. Knowledge is enlightenment of oneself. That's a big difference. And I think when you do that, and to me, sharing wealth is that. and of course time, because it does take time to
Yeah.
do presentations and so forth. So
I
that's
know.
what I have to offer.
And as you guys know, I'm Dr. B, the ultimate legacy builder. It's about leaving a legacy, marking your world, and before you leave, and writing, and being an author, and writing articles is leaving a legacy as well, because you're leaving your message, your story. It's going to outlive you. So connect with Johnny Tan, and one way or the other, either you become an author of his articles, or you make a deeper connection in a different way. Connect with him, and also connect with us on Radio Metroplex. This is Facturando Tu Historia, which is Profit from Your Story. We are in Arlington, Texas, the capital of sports, events, and entertainment, and rock and roll. So be with us every Friday at 5 p.m. Central, because I connect you with entrepreneurs and small business owners where they share their story and their success and how they got there. And we inspire, we motivate, and we give you courage to step into your bigger self. Love you, and we will see you next Friday.
Thank you.